So hello and welcome to our latest episode of the Kith Kin Podcast, Stories from the Hospitality Industry. I'm really happy to welcome Lauren here today to tell us about the ups and downs that brought her to where she is today and what makes the hospitality industry so special. So hi, Lauren. Thank you for coming and joining me with this conversation. So can we just start with an introduction to who you are and what you do?
Hi, so thanks for having me, Cassie. So I'm Lauren. I'm the manager here of Omi Bar in Leicester. A couple of people probably haven't heard of us. We're fairly new, but I've been around hospitality quite a lot. Been in and out of a few nightclubs in Leicester, so might be a familiar face.
Excellent. And the exciting news that I want to congratulate you on is that you are in the finalist for General Manager of the Year at the Kith Kin Hospitality Awards this year. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really big achievement.
And also, Omi Bar are is it for Best Weekend Brunch? Is that what they're finalists for?
Yeah, so they're in for Best Bar and Best Weekend Brunch in Leicester.
Fantastic. So 3 opportunities to win. Brilliant.
Yes.
As I say, I have nothing to do with the judging. So at the minute we're in customer voting phase, and then it goes to our expert judges who will decide the ultimate winners. But good luck. I mean, I'll just know when I get handed the envelope. So I would just start by you telling us your story. So where do you start? Where did it all start in hospitality, and how did you get to where you are?
I think for me in hospitality, it's a little bit of a weird story. Sort of more that people don't really talk about or look about. But I actually first came into hospitality when I was 16. So I'm from a small town in the northeast called Darlington. Back when I was 16, I actually used to live in supported accommodation. I used to live on the streets quite young, had a very unstable background. And hospitality for me was the traditional mindset of I just need money quick and I need something easy to do. So I went in, glass collected in a nightclub. Back then, I don't even know how I did it. This was when minimum wage was like £3 something. I'm running around a nightclub collecting glasses, which seems a bit crazy now. And I left it to go work in a pub. But at that point, I was like, no, not doing nightclubs. They're not for me. They're too chaotic. This is the be all and end all. And I actually ended up spending most of my hospitality career in a nightclub. Hospitality sort of became to me an extension of a family life, or in my case, sort of what was missing from a family life. It meant I could go to work, we had music, everyone was laughing, dancing. It was a bit of an escape for what was going on in my reality, which really helped me, got me out of my shell, speaking to a lot of people. So sort of worked my way up from the bottom, really, glass collecting, then moved on to go be bar staff, to a supervisor of a pub, moved my way over to Leicester somewhere along the lines, went to go work at Club Republic. I was a bar manager there. Lockdown hit, unfortunately, which sort of put a little bit of a spanner in the works for everybody, especially hospitality. We were quite brutally hit, especially with Leicester being the lockdown champion. I think we did maybe like 2 years? Watching everyone else back home.
Yeah.
Where I ended up going to manage Basement after lockdown, which very late night venue. And it's not a venue which should be doing table service. So trying to manage that at the time was very difficult. So where I am now, really, I've just sort of done a traditional work your way up from the bottom to the top, which in my opinion is probably the best way to get your way up. It gives you an appreciation of everyone's roles on each level. I'm not discrediting anyone that jumps up, but you do that completely fine. Everyone has their own journey. I just like the fact that I have a bit of understanding where all my staff are coming in from and what can sort of move them up the same way I've done it.
And that's absolutely amazing, a really inspiring story. So, but what made you fall in love with the industry in the first place, and what do you love about the industry so much?
I genuinely think the reason why I'm here is the people that I meet along the way. As like I said, I don't have a great family history and very much sort of just myself. I did, up until a couple of years ago, have custody of one of my younger brothers. Hospitality was sort of, I guess, kind of like a real life therapy to me. So it was my escape from what was going on. I could come in, I could chat to customers, I can make everyone have this sort of special feeling, and make just such a welcome environment for everyone to be there. And it also sort of helped me with my relationship with my brother. And my brother came and joined me and started living with me when I moved to Leicester. And so for him, very new city as well. Absolutely knew no one except for me, and no one wants to hang around with their big sister all of the time. So it became a way for me to sort of branch open connections with him, getting him into hospitality, meet a lot of people. And I think, honestly, that's it. I guess maybe it's quite a boring answer compared to some people, but it's just the social aspect of things. It's always having a network, and that's just really got me through everything. I think without having hospitality, and sort of having these goals to meet people and better social lives for people, I think I'd be quite lost myself. So I guess a bit selfishly, I do a lot of my work to think, what would I have wanted, in hopes that actually it makes a better experience for everyone else coming in.
No, absolutely. That massively resonates. I mean, there's so much. I mean, when I'm talking to people and on this podcast, and it is a theme that keeps coming up, that people, it's that sense of belonging, feeling, particularly at a young age, feeling that you belong to what is basically a little family of people working together, that team of people that all are trying to achieve the same goals, and that everyone's on your side and that kind of thing. But then beyond that, that's serving other people, that wanting other people to have a special experience. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I agree with you, because I see it all the time in hospitality, that if you're able to empathize with the customer and to deliver to the customer exactly how you would want it, and the experience that you would want, then that is, to my point of view, the key to the most exceptional customer service that you can possibly have. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everyone that comes through the doors, you don't know what's going on. I think especially loneliness sort of became more people's normality during COVID. I think a lot of people sort of lost their social skills. You lost a lot of close connections you had. And you don't know what anyone's going through coming through the door. You don't know if they have a network outside, what their life is like. And that's just the big thing for me, is wherever I'm at, as soon as the doors are open, we are all everyone is welcome. We are one family, because it could make a lot of difference to someone. Especially more so, you get a lot of the older generation that are more isolated. There's not a lot going on for them. Trying to cater events to them and just get them out of their comfort shell, because same way for me, that without hospitality and having all of the great managers that I've had and my staff team, I'd be lost. A lot of our community would be lost as well. Everything's very online, digital, which is great, but we're sort of filtering out the real life interaction of things. And I think just keeping that bit alive is really sort of like the main mission of hospitality, and why we should all sort of back our local businesses and keeping it going.
Absolutely agree. And I think I mean, no wonder you have been in the final. You are in the finalist for General Manager of the Year, because your obvious compassion and empathy with your customers means that you are delivering kindness, which to me is the epitome of great customer service. And how wonderful is that? And although obviously, that comes from a place where there has been hardship previously, for you to be able to channel that into something really positive, it's in an industry that allows you to do that, I think is one of the most exciting things about hospitality, and fantastic. So just when you progressed, how quickly did you progress up into management or supervisor and management positions?
I think I sort of went very steady, and then all of a sudden it sort of just shot up a little bit. So obviously I went into hospitality quite young. I think most of these days, you definitely can't be working glass collecting in a nightclub when you're 16.
No.
But yeah, probably I think I got my first supervisor job in a pub when I was around maybe like 18, 19, which for me was like a massive step. I was like, oh my gosh, someone is like trusting me with the keys to like their pub. I got very, very panicky, very much for like the first couple of months. I was one of those like always on edge. I was like videoing myself locking the door just in case. And that was sort of my first step up. I then moved to Leicester, and this was, at the time, I wasn't 100% invested in hospitality as my long-term career was set in, I actually moved here to do a master's in paleontology, which is a fun fact.
Wow, that's very
yeah. So, hospitality still then was very much my social life, my drowning out background, but not my primary focus. So I came here, went to Club Republic. I think I was there about 2 weeks until I got given bar manager for main room there, which was one of my bigger challenges. I mean, Club Republic is good couple of thousand capacity people. So very crazy. Again, loved it. I love everything to do with sort of organising, seeing everyone having a great time, down to sort of the light productions. I think hospitality is sort of like an art form in that sense. And being there was sort of when I really, really realised actually that I don't want to lose this. And then COVID happened, so we took a little brief period. And then from then it sort of skyrocketed a bit. I think I got quite lucky compared to some people coming out of lockdown. I got given an opportunity to run the basement after that had switched owners' hands. And from that point, it's just been on the up, really. Again, I just think a lot of it is just passion and genuinely wanting to be in hospitality. I don't see it as a job. I see it as fun. I see it as socializing. And I tend to be good at the numbers and the background bits, so that helps.
Yeah.
So I think
is nice
overall. So yeah, overall managing first proper, I guess, like GMing a venue would be just as we came out of lockdowns. I think I was 22, 23 when I took on basement, so quite young.
Wow. Yeah, very. So, in all of that, I mean, your career is still very young, but in all of that, there must have been times when you have taken a wrong turn or made a mistake or wish you'd done things differently. I mean, what sort of things come to mind?
100%. I think as much as I'm proud of how quickly my career sort of moved along, one of the things is that I didn't feel like I had the support that I would give someone that I'm training up. So I have made a lot of mistakes. We all do. I think my biggest one, and I think everyone in hospitality is guilty of this, is hiring friends. or people which you consider friends. I think especially when I was at Davison, like I said, 22, 23, a lot of responsibility. You're still a bit young. You're still a bit naive. And I think that is probably the biggest mistake, is hiring people that you are close to. It could be for multiple reasons. It could be it just strains on your friendships. I have lost a few friends where, especially when you're that young, trying to get the lines between being a manager and being a friend often gets a bit blurred. And I went through a period of time where, as much as hospitality has opened me socially, at that time sort of isolated me a bit, because I wasn't aware on how I could juggle both aspects. I wanted to have my friends, I wanted to have a successful venue, and I wanted to share that with everyone. So unfortunately it doesn't work like that. Don't get me wrong, you can hire some people and they're brilliant, and things work fine. But yeah, general rule of thumb, stay away from hiring friends. Yeah.
This is really interesting, because I was very fortunate that I did have someone very early in my career tell me that don't hire friends. But I was very much like, basically, don't tell me what to do and why not. But it meant that it was always in the back of my head, and which meant that I learned really, really quickly. And as a manager, when I watched when I've watched my staff, when they have, like you, gone from just being one of the bar staff to then taking on a supervisor role or moving up, that is always the hardest thing for them to do. That switch between we're just a whole bunch of mates all working all equal to now I'm the one that has to tell you what to do, and then the dynamic changes, and it's tough for everybody. But I've always watched my staff and always been very consciously aware that I need to support them through that, because it's a really tough thing to do, to learn how to do. And I was always like, if you can do that, you will be able to be a manager. But until you can understand how to manage that dynamic, because it's really, really difficult things to somebody to do, because everybody starts treating you differently, and you're like, but you're my friend and I still want to have fun with you.
100%. I mean, for me, having that experience, like I said, when I first moved to Leicester, I went to Club Republic and I was there a very short period of time. And that to me was first of, I'm in a new city, let's go into a club, let's make some friends. But I had a similar thing. I was there a couple of weeks, gelled with a lot of people, and then taking that step up so quickly in a new venue, then you get the venue politics side of things. And it's actually, oh, well, so-and-so's not been here this long, or this, that, and the other. And it is very difficult. I think you have to have quite a tough mindset. You have to train yourself on sort of how you present yourself to people. So I will come across as quite a tough person, but I am while I'm out, and then I'll go and deal with it all in private. And I think that's one of the things when you're young, you have to sort of put on that tough skin, and act like you're not bothered, put your big girl pants on. And then if you want to have a little cry or a moan at home, you're welcome to. But a lot of people struggle with that. And even just steps up to supervisor, it is difficult. Your teammates will look at you a bit differently, especially, if it's something that they're aiming for as well. There will be sort of that little bit of workplace jealousy. And I think that's one part of hospitality that doesn't get taught enough, is how to actually handle your relationships with staff. And we have a lot of stuff about customer service and how to help your guests. But actually, if your internals aren't working properly, your customer experience isn't going to work properly either.
No, absolutely.
So yeah, we sort of just need to get everyone sort of gelled.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're totally right. You get trained as a manager. So when you're the manager, you get trained how to manage your team. No, but actually you're not trained how to move when you're moving just step by step across it. But I think, feeling sensitive to it, I think is perfectly understandable and perfectly reasonable. After all, almost all of us in hospitality, we're here because we're wanting to please other people. We want other people to enjoy their experience, whether that's customers or whether it's at work. And we're sensitive to the impact we have on other people, because that's what makes us good at what we do. So I totally empathize with feeling sensitive to that. Yeah, absolutely. So what are your hopes for the future? Tell us about that.
I think very, very big aim is I would absolutely love to be able to open my own venue at some point. Remaining slightly realistic about things, it is very difficult right now in hospitality to get to that point. I think we're in a very unstable climate right now, but the goal is I would absolutely love to open my own late night venue. As much as I'm not in clubs right now, clubs still do have my heart. But it's sort of the beginning of the journey for me. And I would absolutely love at one point to sort of see that side of hospitality just be re-injected with some new life. I mean, it's projected that we're not going to have any nightclubs within the next 20 to 30 years, which is really, really sad, because that's how I came into hospitality. But I mean, other than that, I think by the time I'm 30, I've sort of set myself a goal. I would absolutely love to be relocating to London and getting myself in hospitality in the big city. I think Leicester has been a strong part of my life, but I'm ready to sort of shift up my experience a little bit. And I love Leicester, but I think there's not much more room for movement.
Well, absolutely fantastic. And I, for one, will be watching with excitement as you continue to progress. It's really exciting chatting to you. So just as we finish, can you just let people know how they can get hold of you? I'll obviously put everything in the show notes, but how can people get hold of you, find you?
So the easiest way to find me would just be on LinkedIn. So my name's Lauren McCormick. I don't really have a professional email. So at the moment, my email is just laurenmc98outlook.com. Might take me a day or two to get back to some people because we're in quite a busy period right now. But LinkedIn and email is definitely the best way to get hold of me. My friends even make jokes about that now because I am absolutely useless. Any other form of keeping in contact. So yeah,
That's
LinkedIn and then emails.
Absolutely perfect. Lauren, it has been an absolute pleasure to chat to you and share your enthusiasm for the hospitality industry. Good luck for the future. And as I say, I will be keeping a very close eye on what happens next, and good luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.